What's up you guys, and welcome back to another Reddit reading video. Today we're going to be doing an r/entitled kids. No, I did not steal this idea. It was inspired. It was an inspired idea by r/, so thank you to r/. See, I even gave the credit. So it turns out a whopping 98% of the viewers are not subscribed and only a measly little 0.7% watchers are subscribed. So if you want to join a part of the Reddit reading family, go ahead and subscribe. Let's get on with the video. Okay, I'm recording this part way after the video is done. This first story is about furries, and I have no association with furries. This is my first time ever encountering anything about furries, so I'm not a furry. I do not associate with furries, but we read the stories as they are written. Alright, let's go. $2,000 for a furry costume? Okay, so this is my first post, and this happened a few weeks ago, and I gotta share this story. So a little bit about myself to set up to this story. I am a furry. I own a couple of fursuits, mascot characters, each costing about $1,000 to $2,000, so I do charity events, go to some conventions, and sometimes public meetups. I bought my main furry suit, which is a purple border collie dog suit that I use for charity events mainly. Backstory, this time around it was a public meetup when my friends had made what we call a fur meet at this local bowling alley. We went through all the steps of getting a permission from the managers and owner for this place, for us suitors to come in and suit and play a couple of rounds. So names of people: host, entitled kid, EK, entitled dad, ED, mom/wife, handler, and me. So me and my friend got to the bowling alley and met up with the host who took our lanes. We had 2 lanes all the way in the corner right by the bathrooms and were provided with a huge fan. Awesome. 1 lane down from us was a huge family with a lot of kids. Sweet. We knew we were about to brighten up their night when we started to suit up. However, we were informed that we'd be playing this first round without the suit first, before suiting up, and playing the second round in our fursuits, which was cool. There were 8 of us. Out of the 8 people, 5 of us brought our fursuits. So our fursuits were sitting at the table closest to our lane. 3 of the suits were out in the open while the other 2 were hidden in totes. One of our handlers decided to stand guard and watch our suits. As the kid 2 lanes down from us had decided to come and play roughhouse close to our stuff and getting curious on one giant colorful head, one kid nearly spilling their soda on one of their heads caused our handler to move the suit even closer to us. 8 frame came around and our host told us suitors that we can go ahead and start getting ready. Noticing one of the other guys was brushing out his suit, I thought I might as well do the same. So I moved over and grabbed my worker brush and started brushing out my fursuit. The dude that was brushing out his asked me if I can watch his suit while he went to the bathroom. I told him sure, I was just sitting here and brushing my suit. In comes EK. So here I am sitting at the table brushing my fur. I noticed that this little girl, about 7 or 8, was leaning on the table peeking over it watching me. I smiled and waved at her. She ducked down shyly. I giggled and continued to brush my suit. Now the EK peeks and continues to watch me. I see her thinking, mulling over her question, so I stopped and looked up, expecting to hear the usual questions I always hear from kids her age. Question being, what is that? Or what are you doing? So I waited, but what I heard was, well, this. EK, can I have one? Me, confused by the question. What? EK, I want the purple one. Points to my fursuit. Me, looks down at my fursuit, then looks at her, finally registering the question. Oh, no, sorry, you can't have this costume. EK, why not? You have 3 of them. Me, 3? Looks at my friend's fursuit sitting on the table next to me. Oh, no, sweetie, those costumes isn't mine. EK, but I want that purple one. Can I have it, please? Me, I'm sorry, but you can't have it. EK, now mad. You're mean. I'm gonna go tell my mama. Me, okay. And so she storms off. Thinking that this was over, I went back and finished brushing out my fursuit. Once I finished, I suited up. Now, the fursuit I brought with me was all part of a full suit, but I only brought the head, paws, and tail, and wore it as a partial. We did have 2 full suitors with us, and as soon as we got our fursuits on, the kids and EK came running up to us and started playing with us, hugging and high-fiving, and just all out fun. I got stuck with the EK and her little sister, which I was okay with. We talked and hugged and high-fived. I barked at them as I was a dog and playing the part as one. As I love acting, I was doing just that, and they laughed and scratched at my ears on my suit. Of course, I started kicking my foot like I was a dog and getting belly rubs. However, the EK had tried that, but I'm ticklish and I prefer the kids not touch me below the neck. So I had to put my paws/hands up to block her with my hands from rubbing my belly, even though she was trying to scratch at the neck of the fur, but the fur went over my boobs, and that's what she was aiming at, so I had to block her multiple times from touching me there. Anywho, in comes Mom and ED. Mom came up to all of us and asked if we can get some photos, which we all nodded, and Mom and ED took their photos and even recorded us playing with the kids. It was fun seeing the kids smile and laugh and just enjoy themselves. But after 20 minutes of this, Mom and Edie gathered up their kids and went back to their lane. However, EK constantly came back to pester us, mainly me, and would get in the way of me bowling, causing me to A, drop the bowling ball trying to stop myself in mid-run, and B, gutter because EK would hug my leg suddenly. One thing to keep in mind about fursuits is we have limited vision, depending on the suit. Some don't have very good vision, while others have great vision. Luckily mine has excellent vision, but I don't have peripheral vision, so I couldn't see anything running at my side like EK was doing, so it always catches me off guard, causing me to stumble and whatnot. During this, however, Edie was pestering my handler, who was unable to help me with EK. It took the host to get the kid to stop. So here I am going to sit and take a breather, taking off my head. I was able to overhear the conversation with Edie and the handler. Questions being, what are we? What are those called? Do they do birthday parties? Etc. Which our amazing handler answered him, all pleasing the Edie. However, the EK ran up to Edie and begged him for one of the suits, again pointing at mine. Edie turned to the handler and asked, how much? Handler, for one to be made? Edie, how much for the purple one there? Handler, oh, these costumes aren't for sale. However, the owner of the suits makes them, so you can talk to them about making. Edie, how much? I will pay you $20 for any of these costumes. Handler, $20 is way too little for these type of costumes. Edie, fine, 30. Handler, I already told you, they're not for sale, and that is still too low. Edie, 40, no higher. Just sell us one of these costumes. Handler, now getting pissed, but calmly says, okay, fine, 2,000, final offer. Edie, 2,000, that's way too much for a furry costume. Handler, actually it is not, sir. These costumes are handmade costumes, one-of-a-kind characters that these people made themselves. Materials alone cost a couple $100 plus, along with the foam and other materials, plus the time and the hard work these makers go through. Edie, speechless and sputters, well I just need one for a day. $20 and you can keep it, I will return the costume. Handler, nope, 2,000 and it's all yours, no returns. Edie, ugh, fine. The Edie stormed off, dragging his EK with him. I sighed in relief as I hugged my fursuit. My fursuit means the world to me. It helps me escape from stress. I thanked the handler huffed frustrated by the Edie but nodded. Rest of the game went smoothly. EK didn't bother us again. Edie was complaining to his wife, but the mom just shook her head and waved farewell when they left. We had a great game after that, but yeah, that happened. I do have more stories of entitled kids and parents, along with Karens from the job I cannot wait to share. Hope you all enjoy this little story. Well, that's my first time in my entire life ever going through any kind of furry anything. The moment I see anything furry, I skip right past it because I'm just like, this is weird. Yeah, that's still weird. Yeah, it didn't change my mind. That's still weird. But I mean, I could see it. If people are like, I don't know, insecure about themselves or like have a really stressful life, people do have really odd outlets. This is just another odd outlet, I guess. That's just not my style. But yeah, the dad was definitely entitled, the kid was definitely entitled. I could see how the suits cost up to that time. They are one of a kind, they are handmade, and they do need all those materials, so that's totally understandable. Okay, next story. No more furries. A kid almost poops himself, and somehow it's my fault. This happened about a week ago, and I'm only now realizing that I hadn't posted because I went to the same place again. I shop at a certain grocery chain that was recently bought by a giant online shopping center. I'm a regular there, and almost no staff have even put items back for people because they are just so slammed all the time. Now, there's a grand total of 6 bathrooms in the store. 2 upstairs, 1 male, 1 female, 2 downstairs, male/female, and a family bathroom in the food court, and a lone single person bathroom underneath the escalator. I've used the bathroom under the escalator almost exclusively because of the 2 normal ones have stall doors that don't lock properly and have a habit of flying open when the slightest push is given to the whole stall structure. This is relevant, I promise. One last thing before the main story. I have a form of IBS. It's not really IBS because of the surgeries when I was younger. It's the easiest way to describe my condition is. Anyways, I'm sitting in the bathroom when I hear a push on the door and somebody walk face first into. This is normal. Most people don't read the sign and keep trying to get in until they hear me yell, I'm in here. I give my yell and go back to my business. That's when the door is walked into again. I yell, there's someone in here. The following conversation ensues. Me is the person. EK is entitled kid. EK, can you let me in? I really have to go. Me realizing it's a kid that can't be older than 10. Sorry man, there's only 1 toilet in here. EK, can I use it? I really have to go. I'm going to have an accident. Me, no, you can't use it. EK, that's mean, why not? Me, because I'm on it. There's another one in the back, go there. Now, keep in mind, this whole thing is happening through the door. EK, I can't leave, I don't know where my dad is. Sighing, I grab my phone out of my pocket and call the store. I get the customer service desk, as the kid has gone into full-blown entitled mode and screams and bangs on the door saying, "Let me in, let me in." I calmly tell the desk what's going on, and I can hear a friend of mine show up and tell them there's another bathroom in the back. The kid protests with the "dad" line again and finally relents, and I assume walks away. I finish up soon after and went back to my desk. My friend was there but hadn't realized it was me, and we both had a laugh. And also, wonder where the kid dad was in all this. I hope that kid made it to a bathroom, but the kid needs to learn some patience. That kid probably just really had to go. I've had those times where I'm like, I have to go now! Next story. A girl doesn't let an old soldier on the bus. This happened at least a few hours ago, on my way back from school, and even if this is my first post, I knew I had to share this here. EK, entitled kid, OS, old soldier, BD, bus driver. So I was waiting at the bus stop and there was a girl about 2 or 3 years older than me. Sorry to assume, but she was wearing at least 2 tons of makeup. We were waiting, me in front, OS in the middle, and her in the back. I quickly took notice to him as he was slightly shaking and repetitively tapping on the floor with his left cane and his jacket covered in badges, poppies, and medals. I suggested he come in front of me as I saw the bus arrive and I wanted to do something kind for once. That's when EK kicked in. EK, excuse me, why are you letting him in front of you? Me, already annoyed. Because it's my choice and he's an elder. EK, but he's going to be slow and I need to get somewhere. Quickly, move out of the way. She started pushing me, which ended up in me pushing her back. EK, why are you pushing me? Do you know who I am? OS, yes, you're a brat that obviously doesn't know how to show respect. That sets her off screaming. There had been quite a racket, so naturally people turned their heads and looked what was going on. She was trying to get past and tried to hit OS, which quickly caught the BD's attention. Thankfully, he was sane enough to call a few security members to come and take her to calm down. BD, what on earth do you think you're doing? OS, he offended me and he isn't getting out of the effing way. BD, already have called the security and trying to get her to calm down. Listen, young lady, I dislike your behavior to this elder, and you can either go away or apologize to this poor man and stay quiet and respectful. A security guard and a lady wearing a Malicious outfit arrived at the scene. EK, listen, all you dictards can F off, because I just want to get on the bus quicker than this old guy can walk. That got her taken away. OS and I could only do so much as stare at her, trying to hit the guard, and then chuckling to each other. I even waved goodbye. Wow, what a this whole time I imagined this as British people. I don't know why. I don't know why. They just seem so. This just seemed like a British thing. I don't know why. Anyways, let me know if you guys liked some entitled kid stories. A lot of the stories here are actually like, I won't say mediocre, but are less than. They're less quality than ProRevenge and Nuclear Revenge and stuff like that are like highly watched by the mods and stuff like that. These are just a bunch of random stories that are nowhere. Just because r/slash made that video, everyone comes rushing to the new sub with all of these videos and the mods can't really keep up. So hopefully by time, if you guys like these stories, by the time we read them again, the mods will have gotten it together. I'm very sorry if you hear a slightly overweight dog snoring in the background. There's thundering going on and she is highly afraid of thundering. Look, this is her. She might be overweight, but she has a great personality. And she's getting her hair cut on Friday, so she's gonna be beautiful. Okay, on to the r/EntitleedParents stories. We did entitled kids yesterday, so let's see what their parents are doing. Entitled teacher steals my work laptop mid-exam and accuses me of cheating. It is I, the wonderful Brucey, back again with another story for you all. This story happened very recently, and I find it more amusing than anything. So it's exam season, and I'm in the extra care group. This group requires a bit of boosty during the exam, and for me, I require a laptop and alone space. I have a few psychological issues and my hands are incredibly shaky constantly, so I use a laptop for all my exams rather than handwriting it, and I have been since year 9 and I'm currently in year 13. One major issue with me is I can't think straight unless I talk out loud. I can do this in a hushed whisper, but it's why I have to be alone. I'm seated in the back in a large hall with my computer, far away from everyone else's eyes, so I can freely explain my thoughts through myself while tapping away. Before I get on with the story, I should explain Mr. M. Mr. M is a high-end teacher with 2 students in his school. Neither are important for the story. Mr. M prioritizes those students heavily and puts them in the best classes whenever he could. The classes I was in, they always get the top marks. We're always winners in some sort of contest. I, being the quiet-minded kid who focuses much more on daydreaming about Hulk fantasies, didn't care too much for these brats. I just kept on keeping on. Well, until today. I was in my history exam quietly tapping away about Stoicism and how Alexander II screwed up everything trying to make it more modern. I was also whispering to myself as I did it, telling myself what to write as I typed it, but felt something. A very sharp tap. I looked up to see Mr. M glaring at me sharply. I didn't understand what I did wrong, so I went back to silently tapping, struggling much more as I was very anxious about my thinking issue. Another hard tap. I turned back to him and he hisses some sort of nonsense about me cheating. I remained silent. I would never cheat an exam, even if I was struggling so bad. Why would he have accused me of it now? The silence persisted until he muttered something about having special treatment and his son requiring a laptop. And before I could respond, he picked it up and began walking away. Now all this was done in a very quick and quiet movement. I couldn't react, I just sat in stunned silence. My work was gone. I had been in this exam for an hour. I wanted to break down and cry. This was too much for me. It was lucky Miss D, the other one who was in charge of the exams, quickly noticed my lack of computer. Miss D was the one who gave me the computer in the first place, so I knew something was up. She told me to go with her and she took me outside where I explained everything. The lack of the computer, Mr. M accusing me of cheating, being kicked out of the exam hall, everything. She listened constantly, then told me to stay and went off somewhere. From what I got told from a teacher who heard the commotion, being near Mr. M's classroom, Miss D tore him a new one. She berated him for ruining my exam and stealing my property without any acknowledgement of my conditions. She eventually returned to me with the laptop and the memory drive. Luckily, he hadn't removed it and gave me an extra time slip for 15 minutes. Luckily, I was able to get the exam completed even though it left me a bit shaken up. I hadn't seen Mr. M for the rest of the day and noticed that his class was taken by a sub for the lesson. Maybe some action was taken against him? Thank you for reading. Love sharing the little entitlement stories with you all. Update. I got information. Oh boy, have I got a story for you. It turns out he's been confiscating work off others and giving it to his kids to hand in. Mr. M has been removed from the college and is not allowed to teach anywhere in my country's region or regions nearby. His kids have also been expelled due to consistent cheating. He had been replaced on the exam board by a very sweet lady who I had to watch over me and my media exam. I needed an invigilator near me while working due to some of my issues. I am very happy I have friends in high places and hopefully I'll not see him ever again. Wow, that's kind of what he gets just for being rude. I kind of had someone like that in one of my classes. His name was Angel. This was a long time ago. I was still in elementary school. It turns out he had like a learning disability, but the weird thing was he was doing like high school math. Like his learning disability, I guess, was in every single class except for math. When I tell you this dude was a genius, he knew everything. I don't know how. He just did. Like he had the same thing where he had to type everything. Like he wasn't able to write, so he always had like a little mini computer with him at all times, which was weird because my school already gave us computers, like mini laptops at all times. But he always had an extra one that he was always on. But we also had the same math class, and that boy, when I tell you he knew everything, that is not an understatement. There's nothing that he did not know. And he would still listen diligently in class. It's crazy. I was the opposite. I didn't listen to anything. I hate math to this day. I hate math. I never use it. After multiplying and dividing, there's nothing else. Okay, I'll stop now. My hateful math. I won't stop talking on it. Next story. I was called by my sister's high school because some kid grabbed her inappropriately and his entitled mom was defending him. Recently, I was called to go to my sister's school because apparently some kid grabbed her butt and she slapped him. I arrived at the school and the kid and my sister were already there. The kid's mom arrived soon after and started scolding my sister for hitting her son. I told her that her kid has no business touching my sister and that he deserved it. She then rants on about her kid doesn't know any better. He's 15 or 16. I then tell her that if he doesn't know any better, she has failed as a parent. The principal just says his behavior will not be tolerated and he's getting expelled, as he has done this several times to different girls. After that, my sister and I left as the day was almost over and I didn't want to have to drive all the way back to the house, then leave soon after. Oh my goodness, wow, what an abrupt end to the story. But so he's a repeat offender in the first place. He should have been like about that one guy in my class. There's some people who can be in the normal class, and then some people, even if it's behavior issues, don't need to be in the same class as everyone else, just because either they can like interrupt a lot of people's learning processes or don't want to learn and they are a danger to other kids, like this one. Assaulting people is definitely a hindrance to people's learning ability, but then again, they probably send them to like a school for troubled kids. There's a school here, like if you get expelled from the high schools around here, you have to go to something called Star Academy, and oh my goodness, I tell you, I had a substitute teacher that used to teach at Star Academy who had a fake eye, and like the way I passed school was like talking at my teachers. I almost never did any assignment ever, honestly. Like I almost never did any work, and I would befriend my teacher and just talk him up all day, every day. Like, I've always been a talker, and I've always been like the person to talk no matter what. So I'd always try to befriend them so then they wouldn't fail me. That's involved because I was talking to the substitute that was there, and I was like, so, like, what happened with the situation with your eye? Like, I didn't say it like so abrupt like that. I had got to know her most of the entire class. And she explained to me a story where when she was teaching at Star Academy, it was only like her first couple of weeks there, a kid picked up a desk and threw it at her face and her eyeball popped out. Yep, popped out. That's like, it's crazy how something like that can change your entire life. Like, that's crazy. And that kid got expelled from that school too. I'm pretty sure he got sent straight to like juvenile detention. But that is, it sucks. Shouts out to you. I don't want to say your name. I'll feel weird. Okay, next story. Hopefully this one doesn't bring up any eyeball memories. God dang. Disney Karen told a group of high schoolers and my family to go back to Mexico. This happened last night. It was my brother's birthday and we spent a few hours at Disneyland to celebrate. When we were ready to go home, we were waiting for the tram and the drama began. A man was getting into an argument with the worker who had happened to be my brother's friend. We were in the back of the tram and the Karen was in the front, her husband trying to argue with the worker. He finally gets on after yelling a remark about paying the worker's salary, so he deserves special treatment. There was a group of high schoolers making jokes about the scene, one which jokingly says he has a curfew. My brother laughs at this joke and catches Karen's attention. Karen, do you want a goddamn black eye? Don't laugh at us. My brother went quiet. He was smiling, but stopped laughing. Another high schooler made a joke directly to the Karen. Teen, what are you gonna do? Take away our salary? We all laughed. Karen was pissed. It was here that she made a comment that dug her into a hole. She noticed a common factor between my siblings, the high schoolers, and I. We're all Hispanic. Karen, I think you should all shut the heck up. You don't belong here. Go back to Mexico. The tram car falls silent for a moment, and then a loud voice. High schooler. Wow, what a jerk. When we got back to the parking lot, we started unloading the tram. Karen suddenly pushes up one of the high school girls and books it to the lot. They all began yelling things along the lines of, "The jerk pushed her. You have kids, you idiot. Push her again. I dare you." My family and I went home. We were all pretty upset about it. We don't know what happened to the group, but I doubt it was good. We did see Karen running up the escalator to her car, ditching her husband and her kids. She was on the phone on the tram, and we were wondering if she was on the phone with the police. Oh gosh, people like this are so annoying. Okay, I'm Native American, but there are some white people in my family, like my extended family, and they like vocally do not like Middle Eastern people and Mexicans, and oh my gosh. And I'm the type of person where if I feel like something's wrong, I have to stand up for it. Like, my mind does not let me back down. Like, if someone says something wrong in my eyes, like my mouth is like, no, that can't pass. So every time I will incite argument on site every single time when they say something like, oh, those people or something like that, or they need to go back to this place, or they don't belong here. They say stuff like, those people have a secret agreement to take over the nation and stuff like this, and I'm like, what are you talking about? That stuff gets on my nerves so bad. Just like, I'm sure most of you guys know, just like, there's some people that are just racist, and like, their closet is racist, but with their family, they're more open about it. So then like, they hear it, and then some family won't say anything, but I'm not the type of person to just let something fly by like that. Like, everyone's equal, and everyone's equal whether you're in private or public. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't say stuff like that about people. That's wrong. Anyways, before I go on a rant about equality, I am the queen of passive aggression. My hobby used to be making quilts from vintage cloth. I would buy the cloth, usually flour, and feed print sacks from the 30s and 40s at the flea market and antique stores. I pieced them by hand and sewed squares together on my old treadle sewing machine. Then I would hand quilt the tops using vintage blankets as batting and older cotton thread. This took a lot of time, but the end result were beautiful and heirloom quality. Besides, it was a lot of fun. One year, I made such a quilt for my brother-in-law's birthday, husband's younger brother, and his wife freaked out over it and thanked me profusely. 2 days later, my sister-in-law walked into my house without even knocking. Her reasoning was that it was her son's house, and therefore her right to do so. I had been super busy all day and had just sat down in the living room to play some Super Mario Kart with my boys. I was surprised to see her. She usually avoided me if my husband wasn't around. She snorted at me when she saw me on the floor and asked me if this was what I did all day, and then added that it must be nice to have so much free time. I have always worked from home. You'd be surprised how many people would think that this isn't a real job. Then she dumped a bunch of fabric swatches out of a bag onto my sofa. Before I could ask her what she was doing, she started telling me that she wanted a quilt, like the one I made for my brother-in-law. But she needed hers to be bigger and with these colors. Oh, and she wanted new cloth, not that old junk. She brought these swatches so I would know what to buy for her quilt. At first, I was too stunned to speak. Then, I was too angry to trust my mouth. My 2 boys never liked this woman, and they scrambled to their feet and ran out of the room. I envied them, because I was stuck facing this cow alone. This woman has always been as awful to me as she could. She had told my boys to their little faces they were not her grandsons because they looked nothing like her son. She told her other grandkids this too, so we weren't singled out. She had told all her 5 sons that she would only recognize her daughter's kids because she knew those were her grandkids. She only claimed the other grandkids as hers when she wanted to look good around other people. This woman tried to fix my husband up with other women for 5 years after we were married. This woman, who had been trying to make me freak out over the past 18 years, was so entitled that she thought I should just do all this work for her. For free. So I looked through the swatches, asked for the dimensions she wanted, as well as a black pattern. Though for a few moments I told her, yeah, I can do all that. For about $5,000. I figured that was a large enough sum to freak her out and make her go away. If not, well sure, I'll make her a quote for that stupid amount. $5,000? But you just gave one to your brother-in-law. That was a birthday present. Well then this can be my birthday present. I've never given you a birthday present. The only time I tried to, you handed it back, unopened. You told me that you only accepted gifts from family or friends, and that I was neither. $5,000 upfront or no quilt. Frowning and pressing her lips together, she gathered up her stupid swatches and left. I opened the door for her and held it, so she couldn't slam it. She was a slammer. As I watched her drive away, I couldn't help but think how much fun that had been. So for the rest of the year, my husband's other 3 brothers got quilts for their birthdays. Also, to add insult to injury, I made them out of new cloth and not that old junk, as well as the colors and patterns that my mother-in-law wanted, because I knew that I'd get back to her that I had done this. That crazy woman has tried as hard as she could to get one of her sons into giving her the quilt. Nope, didn't happen. 1993 was a fun year. Oh, that was a long time ago. I wasn't even born yet. Probably people listening weren't born yet either. But that is some very, very good revenge right there on an entitled parent. Who decides to be a jerk like that to someone that they're gonna have to be in a family with for the rest of their life? That's just like a terrible idea. I couldn't imagine like having a mother-in-law and just her being mean to me, or having like a son-in-law one day or daughter-in-law and just being absolutely rude to them and knowing I just have to be around them forever. What is the point of that? Just make the most of it. This is definitely an old school Karen. Okay, next story. Entitled broke, crazy aunt regularly helped herself to my parents' food. Written on my phone, so yeah. This was maybe 7 years ago when I was 19, I'd say. And for a bit of background info, me and my brother are the same age, just a few months apart, and my crazy entitled aunt, who I'll now call EA, is his mother. He's adopted. A lot of people get confused when I tell other people that my brother is my first cousin. People jump to the weird conclusion. My parents took him in after EA lost her kids when we were both 12. This isn't much of a singular story, more of a compilation of sorts to display her craziness. At the time, my aunt was especially broke because any money she had went to smokes, pop, and religious items. So she never had food, and I believe she was in an argument with my grandma at the time, so she couldn't go there to scheme food or money, so she'd cross the whole reserve. I'm Native American. Oh, quick interjection, I'm Native American too, cool. And come to my parents' house, and immediately she bummed my brother for some pop or smoke money. Then go upstairs and help herself to the food in my parents' home, not asking, just digging her mitts into any food she could find. It got so bad that my mom, who just kept saying she's family, got fed up after she repeat this pretty much every day or every other day, each time bumming money from her son, me, and my little sisters, who are 6 and 10 years younger than me, and my mother. She never bothered my dad. And eventually, my mother basically shut her down and said she's welcome to visit and eat, but she can't be bumming everyone in the house for pop money or just help herself to the food, and she should ask first. She's somewhat unhinged as a person, and once remember telling her oldest daughter and my cousin, and she asked my EA for money, and her exact words were, "Make your own money. God, learn to double up like everyone else." She equates gambling like a goddamn job. For Christ's sake. Not the typical entitled Karen story, but one I wanted to share. That sounds like a typical mooching entitled Karen to me. That is, I can imagine also like having a family member like that. A lot of people say that family is like the deepest thing you can have. If your family is toxic, no it is not. You're better off having some really close, nice, genuine friends in your life. They're going to be better than the family that's mooching off you or making your life worse. Do not stick around with toxic family just because they have the same kind of genetics as you. That makes no sense at all. To dig yourself deep into a life hole when you could be happy without them in your life. I've done it. A lot of people have done it. Remember, cut your family off if they are toxic. Let's just go ahead and jump into this r/entitled parents. You guys know the drill. Entitled aunt wants to shut a supermarket down because it doesn't serve her kind of meat, and a good man comes to the rescue. I asked my cousin for stories about his mom, aka EA, and he told me a bunch of them. and he asked me to post them. Again, sorry for the translations. I had to translate from Lebanese Arabic because that's how my cousins told the story. I'll be sure to ask him for more stories. Introducing the cast. EA, entitled aunt. CC, cool cousin. PE, poor employee. GM, good man. Background info. EA was a really devout Muslim who would try to shove her beliefs down other people's throats, and that got her into fights in the supermarket in Australia one day. EA brought some beef from the supermarket, and when she paid for them, she realized that they weren't halal, like kosher but for Muslims. EA, excuse me. PE, what can I help you with, madam? EA, why is this meat not halal? PE, excuse me? EA, I said why is the meat not halal? CC, mom please. EA, isn't this a country which respects people of all religions? Why doesn't your product have halal label on it? PE, I sincerely apologize for your product being the way it is, but this is just how we buy our products. EA, well then your product isn't halal. That means you guys are breaking the laws. Does that make sense? PE, ma'am, please, I'm only a cashier. I'm not involved in buying products. EA, that's too bad because someone has to take the blame for your supermarket since it breaks the laws. At this point, GM, who was a Muslim, interferes on the behalf of the employee. GM, ma'am, I'm a Muslim and I really dislike the fact that you guys are mistreating this poor cashier. EA, excuse me? GM, you heard me, ma'am. I have been buying items from the supermarket for 10 years and I never complained about their product's quality. EA, well then, aren't you a real Muslim because you are buying from a supermarket which doesn't sell halal products? GM, that isn't my problem. There's a butcher down the streets which sells halal products. There is no need to ruin a business because it simply doesn't sell the items you seek. EA, how dare you support these infidels for not selling halal food? How dare you call yourself a Muslim? GM, if you don't like the quality of products here, just leave. EA, you are going to HE double hockey sticks. After EA said that, she stormed out of the supermarket, and which left the CC apologizing sincerely to the cashier and the man. So all was good in the end. TLDR, entitled aunt tries to shut down a supermarket because of her religious beliefs, but gets shut down by a good man. What is halal? Halal is Arabic for permissible. Food defined by slaughtering the animal by slitting its throat. What? So they can only eat the animal if you slit their throat? That is just the weirdest. I have no clue what that's about. All I know is that is definitely an entitled parent, or entitled aunt, I guess, in this case. Let's move on to the next story. Hopefully it's not about slitting throats. No, Karen, your daughter can't have my laptop. So I'm a Malaysian kid living in Hong Kong. Both parents are from Malaysia. My mom's dad, granddad, was sort of rich back in the 1980s and had a lot of money for my mom and her other two brothers and sisters. My mother's older brother is EF, his wife is EM, and 4 daughters are ED1, ED2, ED3, and ED4. The family are jerks and always play the suffering family with too many kids card to get the inheritance from my grandma, left to her by my granddad who died in 2011, all just to satisfy their needs. So last year, when I went back for New Year's to celebrate with fam, I brought my MacBook to do my schoolwork with. But in one of our family dinners, ED2 sees me working with it and says, "Wow, you have a MacBook? Even I don't have one. It's so cool." And all that sappy junk, I only half-heartedly and say, "Yeah, I guess. So can I have it to work on stuff for my uni? I have homework to hand and I forgot my laptop." I was still focusing on my work and didn't reply, so she took it as, "Guess that's a yes then." I said, "What the freak," and snatched it back and told her to screw off and stop being such a dumb jerk. She then proceeds to run out for her mother. Oh, by the way, ED1 was 19 when this happened, 4 years older than I am. EM walks in not long after, immediately shout, "Give my daughter her MacBook or else!" "What do you mean her MacBook? It's mine and I'm working on it." "I don't care, she needs it more than you do. She actually has work to do, not stupid work like yours." "Not my problem, it's your own fault that your daughter didn't bring her laptop home." "I don't care, give it now." EM tries to reach for it, but I move my laptop away and go find my mom to help. Luckily, she goes freaking mental on the EM and she stops bothering me. This wasn't the only time something like this happened, and everyone in the family is so fed up with it. Jeez Louise, could you imagine having a family member like that? That sucks to. I feel really bad for the people who are like, family is thicker than blood, whatever that freaking saying is, we're family over friends or whatever. But if your family is toxic, get rid of them like a freaking old crusty band-aid. Throw them to the side. They're not worth that. Mental health is not worth expectations by society. It doesn't make any sense. If someone's stealing from you, cut your brother off. If someone's freaking beating your mom, go beat that guy up. No, don't do that. Go call the cops. Anyways, what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter who the person is. If they're toxic, get rid of them. You'll be happier in the end. Next story. That sounded like I was about to end, but next story. No, Karen, your kid cannot have my asthma medication. This happened to me today, and I'm still scratching my head for the logic. Mandatory on my phone and non-English speaker disclaimer. Cast, me, Karen, and the hero bus driver. I'm a 34-year-old Dutch guy without a driver's license. It sucks, but Dutch public transport kinda rocks, so for almost 2 years now, I've been using it to get to my job. Because of the pandemic, bus schedules have been adjusted to once or twice per hour. It is far from ideal, but I understand why. Kids are not going to school, so the bus company would lose money letting empty buses drive. But by bus, from home to my work, I would be traveling 90 minutes instead of 40, and I would arrive at work 30 minutes earlier than normal. To me, this is not an option. So I decided to cycle to work halfway. That way, I could cut 30 minutes out of the trip. I can get to work at my normal time. The one problem today is that I am asthmatic, and it was quite windy out this morning. So I get to the bus station this morning, already struggling for breath. I quickly lock my bike and walk towards the terminal, focusing on my breathing. 5 minutes later, the bus arrives, I greet the driver and sit down. A minute later, our Karen of the story enters the bus. She takes a seat in the row next to mine, and a few minutes later the bus driver starts the bus and off we go. I still feel like I'm struggling for breath while coughing. I quickly get my inhaler, plus my chamber out, assemble it, and start using it as I struggle to breathe. It instantly works, and I feel precious oxygen enter my lungs. This piques Karen's attention. "What are you doing?" she asks. "Taking my medication. I have asthma, and with this weather, it's quite a struggle to get it here." I replied. "Does it help with breathing?" she asked, and I nodded my head. "Well, yes. I have kids at home, and with the corona, I don't want them to suffocate if they get it. So give me your inhaler. You can get a new one." And she holds out her hand. "Oh boy. Not going to happen, lady," I said in my most dry and mocking tone. "I need these meds, and they don't help for corona." "I don't care. Give it here," she says, and thrusts out her hand again. "My kids need it more." I again tell her no, and put my medication in my backpack and try to put on my headset. This is where Karen goes full EP and grabs my backpack and starts going through it. Luckily, the hero bus driver was paying attention, and we all lurch forward as he hits the brakes. He stops the bus, stands up, and in his seatbelt, drills the instructor voice says, "Lady, give the man his backpack back, now." There is absolutely no doubt of the authority in his voice, and the lady turns tomato red, and she hands the backpack. I thought that was it. Oh boy, I was wrong. I'm not gonna type this in caps, but our hero yelled every word. Why on earth would you think that someone's asthma medication would help against corona? Besides, you saw the man use it. What if he has a virus but didn't get sick? But also, he used it. You're a gross lady. Get off the bus, now. The lady looks like a deer in the headlights, but doesn't move. Get off now, the hero yells again. Finally, the lady gets up and out of the bus. I thanked our hero bus driver as he sits down, and we get on our way again. As the bus driver drives off, I saw the lady on her phone. No assault, police, destruction of property, so it could have been much worse. Still, I wish I could tell this Karen. Too bad we weren't out of the city yet, you disgusting bee. Dang. Yeah, that's crazy. If someone went through my junk, I probably would have snatched that out of her hand so much quicker than the bus driver could have stopped on his brakes like that. I actually do have asthma. I have my inhaler right here. Yeah, I probably shouldn't be wasting those. When you need that medication, you need that inhaler. You don't know what suffering is until your brain is screaming that it wants oxygen and you can't get oxygen. And when he said that the inhaler helps instantly, it's honestly like wizard magic. You're like, I can't breathe, and then puff, and then boom, you can breathe and everything is well. It's like everything just feels great again. It's crazy. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about these stories. If you guys agree or disagree with any of these entitled parents, let me know, because if you agree with these parents, we need to block you right now. No, I'm just kidding. What's up, you guys, and welcome back to another Reddit reading video. Today we're going to be doing an r/entitled so let's just go ahead and jump into it. Entitled mother yells at restaurant employee because she can't eat with her family of 5 and then tries to kick me out. I witnessed my second wild Karen encounter today. In Hong Kong right now, the virus isn't that bad, so we can still go out, but wearing a mask is strongly encouraged. Some places require it. So today, my friend and I decided to go eat ramen at a restaurant in the city. Just me and my friend and another friend. Restaurants close down seats for social distancing, so there are less available seats. Now, this ramen restaurant is not very big, so there are only a few seats available. So here's the cast. EM, which is entitled mother, OP, which is me, F, which is friend, W is waiter, M is manager. So we're just minding our own business when the group of 6 walks into the restaurant. There are only a few seats available, so W informs them that they have to wait for the tables to clear up before they can be seated because the seats are closed for social distancing. EM, what do you mean I have to wait? W, because COVID-19, we're closed for social distancing. EM, oh, okay, why don't you seat us there? She says, pointing at the table with a sign clearly stating closed for social distancing. W, as I said, they were closed, but EM, oh, it's fine, just seat us there, we don't have the virus. W, I'm sorry, I can't do that, that's... EM, I'm sorry, I'm not asking you to seat us there, I'm telling you to, so please, do so now. W, if you wait 20... EM, come on, my angels are starving. She says this as she points to her family, who consisted of 2 toddlers whining about having to eat ramen. W, we can seat some of you over at the bar if you guys don't need to eat as a group. Without even thanking him, she marches her family over to the bar and rips off the signs to make space for her kids. W, I'm sorry, I can't have you do that. EM, I can do whatever I want, I'm the customer. W, I'm sorry, if you can't respect our rules, you must leave. EM, let me talk to a manager. The waiter scoffs and goes to get the manager, who's one of the chefs. M, what seems to be the problem? EM, your rude waiter refused to let me sit at the table, so I have to sit here. M, I'm sorry, but you can't sit here. There are signs stating that these seats your kids are sitting at are closed for social distancing. EM, I don't care. I want to eat with my family. They're starving. M, I understand, but if you can't respect these rules, I'm gonna have to call the police. EM, no, I'm a loyal customer, and I have been for a month, and I deserve better service. M, if you wait, we can seat you over there. He gestured to our table. EM, okay, how long is the wait? M, 20 minutes. EM, gasps and then walks over to us. EM, you guys gotta go. OP, what? EM, you heard me, leave. You and your friends need to leave because you guys have been here too long. OP, we're not done yet. EM, don't talk back to your elders. M, if you don't leave now, I'm gonna call the police for harassing my customers. Realizing that she now can get in really big trouble, she and her entitled family leave. Ended up getting the meal on the house, but still, so people can still be entitled during an epidemic. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Edit 1. I thought I should add, due to the social distancing in Hong Kong, public gathering of more than 4 people are banned, so this Karen would not have been allowed to sit with her big family. Also, thanks for all the updates. Edit 2. Since many have asked, I think the Karen was mainland Chinese and speaks Cantonese. I can tell by her accent. The dad was an expert, so I don't know. The dad had no idea what they were saying and just nodded. Oh wow, what? I hate those kind of people that walk around and think that everything is owed to them. Like, what? Chill out. They can't do that to me. I'm just like, I'm too carefree that I don't care what other people are saying. I'll just be like, what? No, get out of my face. but still, I'm not like a mean person. I'm just like, I'm so carefree that I could care less if she's doing that. And that makes people even more upset because they want to be the center of attention and they want to get a rise out of you, you know? Alright, on to the next story. My dad sold my dog, who helps him with my mental health. Sorry, this is so long. Warning, I'm an idiot and a human, so there's definitely some spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes, so I'm sorry about that. Okay, let me start off by saying I'm a 17-year-old female. My parents would let me have my own life until I turned 18, but this incident drove me to leave. So before I get into the story, I'll say that I have a lot of stories from growing up with my dad, a narcissist who thinks only of himself and has for no respect for anyone else. My mom, who I can say wasn't abused from what I know, but she enables him. I also want to say that I still love my parents because they are my parents, but let me just say I want someone to shoot me in the head if I ever start turning into them. Okay, I was rambling. On to my most recent story. So I recently posted this on Am I the A-hole? So you might recognize me from there. But anyway, let's set the stage for this was pre-lockdown. Mary was still what was normal for us. So I've had this dog who I brightly named Tipsy as an 8-year-old. She was bought for me and I've always been her actual owner. I feed her, I walk her, I take her to the vet, and I give her so much love. She is a total sweetheart and wouldn't hurt a fly. So normally, when I leave for more than a few hours, I drop off Tipsy at my friend's house. She has a dog and the two love each other. So I was getting ready to leave for a week to go see my grandma who wasn't doing very well, and I told my parents my plan. And that's when my dad's face lights up. Here's what happened. Me, hey mom and dad, I'm leaving to go see grandma. I'll be leaving Tipsy at my friend's house. That's when my dad's face lights up. Then he speaks up. Edie, no, why leave her there when we can watch her? You know how much we love her. At this point, I was very confused as my parents aren't exactly the type to spring up at an opportunity to help. But I don't think much of it. I mean, they are my parents and they know how much I love her. So I let my friend know and Tipsy stays home with my parents. I left them a list to follow to make sure they fed her and walked her and didn't just neglect her. Flash forward a week, I get home and Tipsy didn't come running to me. Weird, but maybe she's asleep or downstairs. I go to find her because I miss her. I walk into my living room and say hi to my mom, and this is what follows. Me: "Hey mom, have you seen Tipsy?" AM barely looks at me. "You should go talk to your dad." Me: "Oh, she's with him, okay." I walk to the basement and there's my dad sitting on the couch, phone in hand. Me: "Hey dad, mom told me you have Tipsy?" ED: "I don't have her." Me: "Well, where is she?" ED doesn't even look up from his phone at me and snarks, "I sold her." I just sat there in shock. I thought he was joking because no sane person actually does this. Me: "You're joking, right?" ED: "No, I sold her to a nice family." At this point, I was in tears. I was on the floor sobbing. He sold my dog. She had helped me through years of depression and anxiety. She made me feel safe and was my best friend. I couldn't look at them right now. I ran to my room, packed up, and called my friend. She said I could stay with her house as long as I needed, so I went to her house. After I got there, I found out who my dog was sold to. So I contacted them and they were so sweet. They completely understood what had happened, but they had spent a lot of money on her. And I got that, so I borrowed some money from my parents and paid them twice the amount they had paid for her. I got my baby back and I was so happy, but I was also raging. My dad had sold my dog that he knew I would die for, and my mom did nothing to stop him. I thought that this couldn't get any worse. Then my sister texts me, "Sis, what did you do to mom and dad?" Me: "What are you talking about?" Sis: "Mom and dad have been talking about you a lot. They keep talking about how you're an ungrateful brat and how you abandoned them." At this point, I was livid. I mean, they were making me out to be the bad guy after they went behind my back and sold my dog. I then cut off communication with them. I officially moved in with my friend. We were sharing rent and utilities. I was so done. I wanted them to pay. But I remembered that these were my parents after all, so I decided I had my little victory with getting Tipsy back. I left it at that. I haven't talked to them in over a month, and Tipsy and I don't plan on being associated with them ever again. I'm so glad I got out of there before quarantine. This is definitely not the worst thing that they've done. If you want to hear more, I'll gladly post more. Also, if you have any questions, I might not have explained this very well. I'll be glad to answer. Oh my goodness. I can't even begin to imagine the just uncontrollable anger I would have if someone sold my two dogs. One of them, Peanut, my bigger dog, I've had her for 10 years. That is my best friend ever. If I left and someone sold her, the things I would do to that person. And my other dog, Ponyo, I've had her for almost 3 years. I still love her more than so many things. I love my dogs. That's I can't imagine just coming home and just be like, oh, I can't wait to just see my dogs. When I go on vacation, I miss my dogs. Most people do, right? You go on vacation, and you're like, oh, I wonder how little Maximilian is doing at home. You come home and they come running. You're like, woohoo, normal life is back. Yeah, if they sold my dog, I would be pretty upset. Alright, last story. How an old rain jacket became my defense against an entitled mother. This happened about 2 months ago before this whole COVID-19 lockdown. To give some preface, a long time ago I had an old hand-me-down jacket from my uncle who had happened to work in the prison system. This jacket. It happened to have DOJ Federal Bureau of Prisons logo on it. I've worn it so many times and it's always garnered some interesting reactions from people. I just so happened to be wearing this jacket for our encounter with EM. Now, on to the story. Me and my fiance went out to grab a bite to eat on Saturday evening. As we ordered, we sat at our table and decided to play with our Nintendo Switch, which apparently is EM bait, while we waited for our food. After a few minutes, I had to go and use the bathroom. About a few minutes in after I left, according to my fiance. And some lady, the EM of the story, came up to the table and had her child, the EK, sit down in my chair, which prompted this exchange. EM: excuse me, do you mind watching my kid? There's no kids play area and I saw you had that Switch for him to play. EK: what games do you have on your Switch? Do you have Fortnite? EM, starting to walk off. Have fun. Fiance, putting the Switch inside her bag. Ma'am, I'm sorry, but I didn't agree to watch your kid. He's your responsibility. Also, I don't trust people I don't know with my Switch. EK, but my mom said I could play with your Switch. EM to my fiance. Hey now, don't be like that. It's hard being a single mom. Plus, you obviously have the means to entertain my child, so why not help me out? Fiance, like I said, I'm not responsible for your child. I didn't invite him to sit here. Please leave. EM, now you listen to me. I know the owner here, and I will have you thrown out if you don't watch my child. As the EM is yelling this, I happen to be walking out of the bathroom toward the table where my fiance was. As I'm walking up, the EM sees me coming and notices the DOJ logo on my jacket. A smirk crossed her face as I got to the table. EM to me, now you look like someone in law enforcement. This rude lady here is refusing to give my little angel her switch to play. This rude lady here is refusing to give my little angel here her switch to play with after she promised to do so. Me, cutting her off with a stern voice. Is there a reason why you're harassing my fiance and trying to take the switch I bought for her? I watched as the EM smirk gave away to look that said, oh shoot. She quickly grabbed her child and made a beeline to her table. The EM didn't bother us afterwards, outside of a few stolen glances. We got our food, ate it, and left after finishing our meal. I'm glad I picked that day to wear my uncle's old raincoat. What? Who is this lady, and why is she just dumping her kid off on random people? Do you know how dangerous that is? What did it? Man, entitled parent, if I've ever. Free childcare, I freaking tell you. Could you imagine that if someone just came up to you and was like, here's my kid, here's little Johnny, go have fun for a couple hours. I'm gonna go chill. What? That makes no sense. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about these stories down in the comments. I really hope you guys enjoyed them. I am done with my little hiatus from this channel. I am back and better than ever. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I see you guys next time, and goodbye, my lovelies. What's up you guys, and welcome back to another Reddit reading video. Sadly, we're reading the first part of the first story again because for some reason the recording was not recording correctly. So here we go. Oh yeah, before we start, this video was sponsored by Aiden. Thank you, Aiden. Really, it was suggested by him. Aiden, thank you so much for the suggestion. I'm pretty sure this is the second time you suggested a video. If you guys have any suggestions, leave them down below. We do them. If at any time in the video you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into the video. I'm just a delivery guy, so I don't know if this belongs here, but I couldn't stop laughing. A little backstory, I work for a crate company, FC, and my job is to drive around town in a semi-truck with a 28-foot trailer with a liftgate on it and deliver items on pallets that are too big for normal mail trucks. So I'm delivering an industrial dishwasher to a new restaurant. I have to squeeze my truck through the alley to the back door like normal. I'm too big to park on the side of the road. I go in, the manager politely says, "We can't take that today. I was told it was supposed to come in 2 days, and I just don't have the room." I said, "No problem, I'll bring it back in 2 days." I'll load it back up and leave, which by the way is not easy to do because it weighs 700 pounds. Fast forward 2 days, I'm back behind the restaurant, so I lower the liftgate, open the door, and head inside with the paperwork I need to show the customer. I look around inside and find an employee that takes me downstairs to the locked door where the man, rude owner, comes out and immediately stares at me and repeatedly interrupts while I say my opening line. "Hello, I'm from FC. What do you want?" Yeah, I have your dishwasher." He abruptly walks away, so I follow him into the kitchen area, where he starts barking orders. Trying to get the dishwasher pulled out and the electrical lines replaced, and the feed and the drain lines replaced, so you need to do all that and take your old one with you. This was supposed to be done yesterday, and we are open in 2.5 hours. Obviously, I'm confused, so we share an awkward stare which seems like an eternity until he breaks the silence with a, "Well?" I realize what's happening here, so I say, "Sir, I don't know if someone told you the wrong information, but I'm not the installer. I'm just here to drop it off." He did not like that. "I don't care what you're here for. I need this done now." All I can muster up is, "Sir, if you need it installed, you're gonna have to call a plumber." He then throws a fit and yells at me, saying I need to get down there before he calls my boss. This is where I get evil. You see, we have to get a signature on the delivery receipt to complete the delivery. Well, I had him sign off before it all happened. So, I go the 150 yards and 2 staircases back up to my truck. I get back in and lift the pallet with the jack. I drop it onto the asphalt. I load my jack back up and leave. As I leave, I see him come running out, waving his arms, and I keep going. An hour later, I get to the yard and my boss says, "You got a call from RO. He's pissed." Then sticks his hand up for a high five. Nice one. Moral of the story, don't be rude to people that have the power to make your day terrible. Wow, this is like I guess it is I don't work here. He did work there, like delivering it, but he wasn't the installer. Yeah, I mean, that's a good, very, very good example of why you should always be nice to people. Like, you don't know what kind of power they have. It goes back to like whenever I was working at Walmart, where I was working in the money center at a Walmart, and if someone wanted to cash a check and like they didn't have like the junior at the end of their name, or if maybe they gave me their ID card and it was like any of the plastic was ripped on it, if they were rude, I would just deny them. I'm like, I'm sorry, we're not allowed to accept any kind of messed up IDs, and they would be so upset. Like normal people, nice people, like I wouldn't care. Like even sometimes I do them a favor, they have a jacked up ID, I do it. But like really people, like really rude people that just came in there and were just stinky and nasty, fishy, stinky, I would just be like, ma'am, I am so sorry, forgive us, but this is an invalid form of identification. We need one without rips, no tears. You can't have any kind of smudges. Here, it's right here in our handbook. I'm sorry. And like just being extra polite like that would just make them even more upset. Like kind of good times and not good times, because that job kind of sucked, but then again, it was fun doing that stuff. Okay, on to the next video. Enough about Walmart. The moment you realize a customer doesn't view retail as a job. I'm gonna preface this by stating that the customer isn't malicious, just ignorant. And this kind of story is short but entertaining. I wasn't actually confused for an employee, but it did happen with a customer I recognized at some place other than where I work. So I worked at this grocery store for a really long time. I don't remember how far back the story is, but one Sunday after work, I decided to go to a nearby pizza place to get myself a small pizza before I head home. I don't order it ahead of time because this is before I carried a styrofoam regularly, and the place is like a 5-minute drive from my work, so I'm not gonna go home to order it first. I walk in and immediately encounter an old man who shops at my store regularly. He never really comes off as senile or rude, but he's one of those people who has no filter on the way they talk. He recognizes me as someone he's seen before, but doesn't mistake me for an employee. Old man: oh, I'll get out of your way, cause your order is probably already ready. Me: oh no, I haven't ordered yet. I just got out of work and I came straight here. Old man: where the F do you work that you have to work on a Sunday? He yells this while we're standing in the middle of a pizza place that in fact is open on a Sunday, hence why we were here buying pizzas. I hear a couple employees in the back grumbling something because he yelled this rather loud and sounded outraged at the concept of someone having to work on a Sunday. I don't remember what I said to him after that because I just wanted to get my pizza and go home, but I can't imagine what kind of logic was turning in his head. Not sure if he just doesn't view retail as a work and think they're all just here for fun and games, or if he views employees like some kind of magical extension of the store that have no personal life outside of the store. Okay, I know I said I was done talking about Walmart, but whenever I was working on a holiday like Thanksgiving or like Halloween or something like that, or like even Christmas Eve, people would come and be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they have you working. And I'd be like, I'm here working because you're here. If you didn't come here, I wouldn't be working. I don't know, like, you dang hypocrite. That actually shows you how little people think about other people. A lot of people get nervous and anxious because they think like, oh my god, everyone's thinking about me. But everyone else is thinking, oh my gosh, everyone is thinking about me. Everyone is so busy worried about themselves that no one really notices each other. That was kind of short, so let me look for another one. I forgot. I do work here. So I work for this company that deals with anything to do with transport. The most famous part of our company is a local moving part, biggest in my country, but I barely have to work with them or think about them as I work in an international transport. Most people don't know our company does do other things than moving. A year ago, I helped my sister who was moving out of house since I could get her a free truck and tools when to work on weekends. Since I was doing heavy labor, I was in my work gear with this famous company logo plastered all over. I loaded and unloaded the trunks since it was borrowed from my work and I wanted to make sure it stayed in pristine condition. So I was with the truck at all times, which had our famous company logo on the side. Random lady RL walks up. RL: hey, I was learning about the prices of your moving company since I'm going to move soon. Me, totally forgetting that my company does moving as well. Excuse me, I don't work for a moving company. RL, slightly confused, thinking that she's bothering me. I don't want to know too much, just how much it costs on an hour, and how big of a truck we need for an average move. Me, sorry lady, no clue, you might want to ask the actual moving company. RL left with a very confused look on her face. She kept looking back at me, I was confused as well, until I saw the company logo on my sleeve. Oh, guess I lost the company a client and some trust that day. Oh well. Okay, I know I already said I wouldn't talk about Walmart twice in a row now, but like since this is just turning into a partway Walmart video, since I worked in the money center, I would come through the front door, turn to the right, and would be in my little office area. And then I would walk out of there, turn to the left, and the front door was right there. So I never went anywhere in the store. And people would be like, do you know in what aisle I may be able to find a closing pin attached to an oil regulator? And I'd be like, no, maybe look in the closing pin oil regulator inside of the store and maybe ask an employee there. And they'd be like, well, you working at Walmart? I'm like, ma'am, I work in a money center. I don't even go anywhere else in the store. Okay, enough with the short stories. No one cares about Walmart. Anyways, what do you guys think about the sub r/I don't work here lady? These actually seem pretty good. The last one seemed like the most, like, I don't know, I don't work here, but like they just forgot. These are, like the middle one, like I don't even know what that had to do with r/I don't work here lady. It seems to be just like funny stories. Let me know if you guys like this sub down below, and you guys have any suggestions. Remember at the beginning, I take every single suggestion that comes in since we're still not that big of a channel. Comment your favorite ones down below and we'll go through them, even if they're just like picture stuff and stuff like that. Once again, if you like this video at any point in the video, like and subscribe. I hope I see you guys next time, and goodbye, my lovelies.